Hey, what's going on, world of YouTube? This A New Breed coming at you with another video. This one I'm gonna try to keep short and sweet. I went downstairs and was going through my preps and looking at the different things that I have and different food that I've got. And this is one of my favorite preps, don't laugh at me. But just add water pancake mix. Literally, one of my favorite food preps. Expiration date, December 7th, 2022. So it's got a pretty long shelf life. This one is in a Mylar bag, good stuff. Came to the realization that when all of my pancake mix runs out, I have no idea how to make it from scratch. And I'm not talking about going to the store, buying flour, all that stuff. I'm talking about from the soil to the table. That's something I didn't even think about. There's a lot of foods that we become accustomed to that we can get in areas we can't because of the system. And, being able to go to a store and buy foods from areas that we normally couldn't or weren't available, because a lot of these foods are seasonal, so they import foods from different places that it can continue to grow. I'm up in the north in Ohio, so getting oranges would be something that's not going to happen frequently. Then we also have a winter, so our winter, having to store up, use different foods, especially meats, things like that. Of course, you can preserve your meat, you can preserve different things, which, more power to people. I can myself. Thanks to Lab Farmer 73 and Homestead Heart. That was definitely, good build. I learned how to can, going out canning a little more than I probably should. But if we look at being up in the north, things like apples. So you look at apples and they grow seasonally. You look at watermelon, you look at all your different fruits and vegetables that come and go within the season. How to properly preserve them. And then you look at the ingredients of some of the things, for instance, like this pancake mix. All the ingredients that go down the list in order to make it. So those who can make things from scratch, more power to you. Because I know people who can make bread from scratch, they can make cakes from scratch, all that other good stuff. When it comes from the store. Now from the soil to the table, don't necessarily know. But when we look at from scratch, we're not really looking at from scratch because a lot of things take time. So your pastas, being able to actually break down and make your pasta noodles, being able to make your own sauces, that stuff takes a lot of time. It's a really delicate process and you have to know how to do it. So for me, this was actually depressing because I like my pancakes. I like strawberry shortcake. I mean, there's a lot of foods that I like out there that I'm not going to have access to, and things that I'm not going to, I really have to sit down and figure out how to make a lot of this stuff from scratch because we take it for granted every day. Now that's just a thought of mine. That's why I hopped on here, and it's kind of funny because when you really think about it, if you're watching this video, I want you to take the time, if you got a couple minutes, I want you to sit down and leave a comment, and I want you to name a food you're going to miss when stuff hits the fan. Regardless of what it is. There are some people who eat specific foods that you're not going to be able to find. Me personally, I like salmon. So I'm gonna have to, there's different locations where you can't get that stuff. So I want you guys to sit down, and if you can even name 2 or 3 foods you're gonna miss. Matter of fact, think about foods you're going to have to process on your own, or how there's going to have to be a bartering system in order to get that stuff. Then you look at the effects of how food works mentally, physically, and emotionally. Because don't think food doesn't have an effect on you. That's why we have things called comfort foods, things that remind you of good times that can perk your spirits up. Also, think of the foods that are going to take time to process. And when I say time to process, not the actual creating them, but growing them, like beans, soaking your beans, then being able to flavor your beans. What are you going to flavor your beans with? Raising up chickens from the egg. So a lot of this stuff takes a process, but the process has completely been shortened down due to the fact of the system, the stores. So now we look at it and it's like, man, I want to go get something to eat. You run to the store, you buy it, you bring it back, you cook it. That's not going to be the case. You may have to grow it for 3 to 6 months. You may have a taste for something that you can't get for 6, 9 months, maybe even a year. You know, going out and getting an apple and running to an apple orchard or places where it's already grown versus growing one from scratch. Some of these plants don't bear fruit for 3 to 5 years. You know, just to really sit back and think about that, and don't take for granted the food that you have in front of you. Because getting it now, canning it and preserving it, perfectly fine, nothing but respect. You know, keep and continue to do that. But what's gonna happen when you can't find that food as readily available as you want it? Like, I know people who prep with peanut butter and jelly. Well, if you ain't growing a grapevine, and some grapevines take 2 to 5 years to yield, where you gonna get your jelly from? A lot of people prep with rice. Are you in an area that grows rice? Is it white rice? Is it wild rice? How long does rice take? So getting in and studying these foods. And if somebody out there, you know, has a channel that I don't know about, that talks about from the soil to the table, it would be greatly appreciated, because there's a lot I need to learn about that aspect of it, because there's things I'm gonna miss. And when stuff hits the fan, it's not like I'm gonna be really grasping for the knowledge. It's more or less survival until things get calmed down. So I do want to thank those for watching. Once again, leave a comment. Some of the foods you're gonna miss, some of the foods you love, some of the foods that comfort you. And I definitely hope y'all enjoyed. And once again, that was very depressing, thinking about all the different foods and sweets that I'm going to miss that I don't know how to make on my own. So I hope y'all have a blessed evening. I hope y'all really sit down and think about this. I hope you have a good laugh over it too. And don't get overly depressed thinking about the food you will not have here shortly. Or let me not jinx that. We're not gonna say shortly, but eventually. But this is something that, of course, the old timers did. They made everything from scratch, from the soil all the way up. It's become a forgotten art due to the fact that we have grocery stores. We may get mad at the system. We may talk big about, oh, well, you know, the store is this, the store is that. But in reality, how many of us have become completely reliant, even on our from scratch stuff, getting it from the stores? Because a lot of us don't know how to grab it from the soil. So, you know, y'all enjoy, y'all stay blessed. I'm gonna cut this one short because I'm telling you, I can keep going on this one. I may do a live just to talk about this. If y'all want me to do a live, y'all could also leave that in the comments. We can maybe have a couple good laughs. So I get at y'all. Stay blessed. Peace.